Hi, this is Steve with Jordan River Group in conjunction with Humantelligence. And today I wanted to share some thoughts about one of my favorite personas, and that is of the helper. And we all know helpers. We love helpers. Helpers are great to have on the team, but let's just spend a couple minutes talking about them so we get to know them better and know how to work with them better. So helpers are easy to spot, intuitive to their name. These are people that tend to be sincere, right? Generous with their time and talents, always on the lookout for how to pour in and help. And we love these people on our teams. And in a leadership role, they show up as well, often being generous teachers, generous coaches, helping people move along and invest in relationships. So these are great people to have on board. What are a few other persona mixes that are common with the helper, right? And again, remember, your number 2 and number 3 can be an infinite number combination, and you are a unique person for sure. But with helpers, it's very common to see a few of these sprinkled in. And one of them is a supporter. And the supporter makes sense just because of the high index focus on team, right? And that happens with the supporter role. Architects are also really common just because of the listening focus as that archetype is building things, they're gathering information, and helpers are good at that, especially on the person-to-person side. All right, last one I'll highlight maybe is the researcher. And researchers show up here because helpers are invested in problem solving, all right, helping teams solve problems in healthy ways, healthy relationship ways. And so you'll see a researcher be a number 2 or number 3 persona often. All right, and so that's just good to spot. Again, we're all unique people, so these combinations vary. What's it like to work with a helper? Well, it's a lot of fun usually, and that's because helpers are focused on connection. So you can expect working with a helper that they're going to be focused on people getting along and doing work well and even doing things to help that process out. All right. They may not be your most spontaneous person in the room, right? And maybe even get labeled careful or cautious or a little on the slower side as far as tempo and pace. They like to do their homework, especially on what are the paths ahead if it will make people more comfortable, right? And again, these are well-intentioned things, and we tend to be drawn to people like this for those reasons. Now, there can be some challenges with helpers, and I raise my hand and let you know that I've experienced this myself personally. When we over-index the helper qualities, that shadow side creeps up, and with helpers, it shows up in the way of giving away too much, right? And that sounds like, wouldn't we love to be that person, but not if it starts causing problems, right? So helpers tend to give too much of themselves away. Time is one thing for sure. And so sometimes we have to help helpers understand the value of their time and that their responsibilities and priorities need to get focus and prioritization. All right. Also very, very common for helpers to neglect themselves and their responsibilities, but just even themselves as people. So sometimes you see a high burnout level with helpers, and this is important to realize as well. So hopefully this information helps you spot a helper easily and also know how to work with them. And if you're a leader leading a helper, keep an eye on a couple of those shadow sides to creep up as well. All right. Look forward to seeing you on the next profile.